Bro, you need to find a way to get those papers. You're the only one with access to them. They wouldn't even suspect you. You know I can't do that. They might trace it back to me. Bro, you can do it. You're the smartest one among us. No one will even suspect you. Just find a way to get those papers now. We go sort everything. You know this one is risky. If they trace it back to me...
I need to get these exam papers quick, so I won't get caught. For my friends.
You see, I told you that you could do it. You're smart.
Kingsley, you had access to the staff room. These papers were found leaked. Do you understand what this means? You could be expelled. Your future is finished if you don't tell the truth right now. How did these papers get out?
Ma, please, don't expel me.
I'm sure you're probably wondering how we ended up in this situation. But to understand, we need to go back to the beginning.
Everyone trusted Kingsley. That was exactly the problem. His teachers trusted him with keys, with records, with responsibility no one questioned. His mother told every neighbor on their street that her son was going to make something of himself. And his friends, Bode, Chidi, Ifeanyi, trusted him to always be the reasonable one.
Bode was the loudest of the group. The one who always had a plan and always needed someone to say yes to it. Kingsley was always that someone. It started small, skipping one class together, covering for each other when a teacher asked questions. Nothing that felt like it mattered. Until the day something much bigger landed in Kingsley's hands.
Miss Adora had asked him to help organize the staff room before the final exams. That's when he saw them. The final exam papers, unsealed, sitting right there on the shelf. He didn't touch them that day. He told himself he hadn't even really seen anything. But somehow, by lunchtime, Bode already knew. You are telling me you had the papers right in front of you and you didn't grab a single page? It's not that simple, Bode. I could lose everything. After everything we've done for you, you can't do this one thing for all of us. Kingsley wanted to say no. But saying no meant risking something he couldn't quite name. Losing his place with them. That night, Kingsley went back to the staff room, alone, with a key he wasn't supposed to have. He photographed 3 pages. His hand shook the entire time. He sent it to the group chat before he could talk himself out of it. For a moment, it felt like triumph. Bode called him the most loyal guy he knew. Kingsley told himself it was worth it, just this once, for people who mattered to him. What none of them realized yet was that the paper hadn't stayed inside their small circle. The exam results came back 3 days later. Almost the entire class scored unusually high. Miss Adaora noticed immediately. She had been teaching too long not to. An investigation began quietly, the way these things always do at first. Students were called in one by one, starting with the ones closest to Kingsley. When Chidi and Ifeanyi came out, neither of them would look at him.
Kingsley didn't understand yet what that silence meant. Inside, Chidi and Ifeanyi had already mentioned quietly that Kingsley had staff room access that week. Nothing they said was technically a lie. It didn't need to be to do its damage. When it was his turn, Miss Adora's face told Kingsley everything before she said a word. You had access to that staff room the night before the exam. Do you understand how this looks? Outside, to the glass, Bode sat waiting his turn and said nothing when it mattered most of all. Kingsley understood in that moment that none of them were going to share this with him.
He was suspended immediately, pending a full disciplinary hearing. They took his prefect badge off his chest before he even left the room. At home, his mother's face when she heard was worse than any punishment the school could give him. Mrs. Eze, I told the whole street you are different, Kingsley. I told them. Kingsley spent that week at home in silence, replaying every choice that had led him there. Then, on the 4th day, a knock came at the gate that no one in that house expected. A Jew, a girl from his class Kingsley had barely spoken 2 words to in 3 years. A Jew, I was in the corridor outside the staff room that night. I saw Bode pressuring you before you went in. What Bode never knew was that Ejiro had kept the messages he'd sent bragging about it afterward.
Why would you help me? We were never even really friends. Because I don't think you should carry this alone, when it was never only yours to carry. The next morning, she walked into the school building to tell Miss Adura everything she knew. The hearing was reopened. This time, Ejiro's testimony was on the table. Bode's face changed the moment her evidence was read aloud. He tried to explain it away, but the messages spoke for themselves. Chidi and Ifanyi's quiet redirection came out too once the full picture was pieced together. The punishment was redistributed. Bode received the harshest consequence, expulsion. Chidi and Ifanyi were suspended for their part in misleading the investigation. But Kingsley's own suspension stood. He had still taken the papers. He had still chosen to send them. The truth had softened the fall. It hadn't erased it. And somehow, that felt right.
Kingsley lost his prefect position for good. He spent the rest of that term rebuilding, quietly, without an audience. His mother didn't stop loving him, but it took a while before her pride in him came back the way it used to be. He found himself sitting with Ejiro more, not out of guilt, but because her honesty made him feel less alone. Kingsley, thank you for not letting me carry something that was never only mine. Bode never reached out again. In time, Kingsley understood that some friendships were never really about him at all. He used to think loyalty meant saying yes, no matter what was being asked of him. Now he knew real loyalty had never needed him to prove it by doing something he knew was wrong. He came back from that fall slower than he had fallen. But this time, he built it on his own terms.